Now, I am a massive fan of the Nintendo Switch, so today I thought I'd share with you my Nintendo Switch collection so far. So we're going to look at all the physical games I own for the Nintendo Switch from A to Z. So let's get looking! So the first game we're going to have a look at is Astria Ascending. Now this was recently featured in my 5 side-scrolling JRPGs that you should play. This is an absolutely gorgeous game. It's been made by some team members from, it says, Final Fantasy, Nier Automata and the Bravely Default series. The actual graphics itself reminds me quite a lot of Vanillaware's art style with the hand-drawn pictures. So next up we have is Bravely Default, a cracking JRPG from Square Enix. In this game, you're following the 4 Warriors of Light, kind of like Final Fantasy, and it has incredible turn-based combat, and it has a job system as well. Really great fun, this game. Next up is a puzzle game, well, JRPG puzzle game maybe? And that's Catherine Full Body from Atlas. Now this is a fantastic and really funny puzzle game. Your character climbs up, is stuck in nightmares, and he's climbing up these like big blocks. It's really fun. Atlas have wrote a fantastic funny story with this one. But listen, my collection is not just all JRPGs. There is the likes of Crash Bandicoot 4. And I tell you what, when did Crash Bandicoot become so hard? The game runs fantastically on Switch and I really enjoy it. It was great that it's tongue-in-cheek as well, forgetting all the past sequels which were done in the past. Sticking with Crash Bandicoot, we have CRT, Crash Team Racing Nitro Field. What can I say about this game? It's a fantastic kart racer, a remake of the PlayStation 1 classic kart racer, Crash Team Racing. Next up, an all-time favourite, and a game which was featured in my top 5 games of 2022, that being Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. Incredible game. I've also got a video on why you should actually play it, so I'll link it somewhere up there for you to have a lookie. Another game which I have gushed on about loads of times on this channel, and that is Crosscode. This game is phenomenal and it is just great fun. I love the actual art style, the 2D pixel art. It's reminiscent of like some of your old Mega Drive games, for example. It's just great fun, and the humour is fantastic in this as well. Now, an underrated JRPG series is definitely this one here, and that is Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Complete Edition, which is basically 2 games in 1 cartridge. So this is a turn-based JRPG and it's just great fun. Again, similar to likes of your Pokemon, you are capturing monsters, etc. But honestly, I don't know why this hasn't got another sequel. You know, they're both great games and highly recommend it. So next up we have what I think is an underrated gem, and that is the Dealfield Chronicle. This is an RTS JRPG, so real-time strategy, and again, when I started playing this, I was having great fun with it. I'm not usually, RTS real-time. I do like my strategy RPGs like Fire Emblem, but I was really surprised by this one, and I look forward to getting back into it. So this next one, I want to call it a JRPG, but it's actually made in Taiwan, and it is Dusk Diver. This is a fantastic action JRPG. It's reminiscent of the likes of Tokyo Xanadu in that regards, with the street setting, etc. It's a really good game. Usually you can pick it up quite cheap as well, from my remembering. So if you do get the chance to pick this one up, do it.
Okay.
Do it. Do it.
Alright.
Next up, and another essential JRPG for anyone's collection, and that is Dragon Quest XI-S. Do I need to say anything more about this game? Next up is a indie game which a lot of people say it's one of the best indie games which have been released in a long time, and I would agree with that sentiment. It's Eastward. Eastward is a fantastic indie game with frying pan based combat. So the latest addition to the collection is Fire Emblem Engage. Now, Fire Emblem, as you know, is a strategy JRPG. What are my thoughts so far on it? It's a great game. It's not beating Three Houses for me, but it's still really good. But the animation in this on the Switch, it is fantastic. So hopefully that standard will carry on throughout the rest of the lifespan of the Nintendo Switch. Now, speaking of Fire Emblem Three Houses, it's Fire Emblem Three Houses. Now, Fire Emblem Three Houses is one of my all-time favourite JRPGs. I have sunk so many hours into this game. I've done about 5 playthroughs. I've done the 4 paths that you can do, so all the different houses, and then I've just started replaying again. It's just so good, and the music is such a banger in it as well. Sticking with the Fire Emblem train is the first game that I got for the Nintendo Switch, Fire Emblem Warriors. Now, Fire Emblem Warriors is a fantastic spin-off of the Fire Emblem series. Now, earlier on in the channel's lifespan, I had done a Fire Emblem Warriors Play It video, so I'll put the link again up there somewhere. Now, if there's something strange in the neighbourhood, who are you going to call? Of course, it's Ghostbusters! So this is the remastered version of the Ghostbusters video game, and what else do you need to say about it? It's just awesome. Now, this next one had a bit of a controversial release just because it came out in not the best of states, and that one is Grand Theft Auto The Trilogy. Now, I got it later on once the patches had actually come out, and I love the Grand Theft Auto games, and I played San Andreas in full on the Switch, and just it was so great to come back to that game. I didn't have any problems with bugs, etc. So yeah, I mean, I would definitely say if folk want this on the go, yeah, it was worth the money for this one. Now, one of the great things about the Nintendo Switch is that it is a non-region machine. So basically, if you have a game from the likes of Japan, you can fire it in, and 9 times out of 10 it will give you the English game. And this is true for this next game, and that is a physical copy of I Am Setsuna, Japanese edition of it. I absolutely adore the Tokyo RPG Factory games, and this was one of the earliest releases on the Nintendo Switch, and from playing it, I just loved the feel of the game, how it was set in the snowy wilderness. Just great fun, and essential pick for any JRPG fan. Now, if you have a Nintendo Switch, an essential game has to be The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Do I need to say anything more with this game? It's just a genre-defining game. It's one of the most pivotal games in the Zelda series, and one of the most important titles in gaming history in general. It's so many clones nowadays of this game. Now, next up is the first game that I completed of 2023, and I tell you what, if I could completed it in 2022, it would have definitely been in my top 5 games, and that game is Live Alive. It's unbelievably good. I can't believe that this was stuck in Japan for so long. I love the 2D HD pixel artwork in this. Each character's stories are fantastic fun, and there's, you know, the length of time you actually play with some of the stories. So like that guy there, the martial artist, you know, his scenario was done within an hour, whilst it took me a couple of hours to do one of the other scenarios, and it just all comes together at the end. And also the music, oh, it's so good. Now, another Tokyo RPG Factory game, and another game which I have gushed about a few times on this channel, and that is Lost Sphere. This game just oozes Chrono Trigger. So it is a turn-based RPG which has the similar sort of turn-based style combat to the likes of Chrono Trigger. It's not the longest of games, but that works to its strengths. You know, it's one that you could just pop in, play for a good few hours, and then you're done. Now with Nintendo, you always need the man with the moustache. Yes, Mario. So the first Mario game up is Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury. Oh, I love this game. It's so much fun. The great thing with this is it's got a pick up and play style with the main Super Mario 3D World. So you could just, if you only got a few minutes at a time, you could spare to play something. You can go into little levels. The levels only take a few minutes at a time. And that's why I really enjoy that, is for that quickness of jumping in and out, especially when you're a JRPG fan where you spend hours and hours and hours on one game and then you can just jump in between the game. It's fantastic. However, that might be a fantastic Super Mario, but in my eyes, the best Super Mario game to date is Super Mario Odyssey. This game is just so much fun. I think they've really nailed the formula here. When I first jumped onto Super Mario 3D World, I was struggling to jump from the control setting here to that setting there, because it's just so tight with this. And again, with any Nintendo Switch owner, you've always got to have Mario Kart Deluxe 8, the best kart racing game at present. This next title is known as one of the impossible ports to come to the Nintendo Switch, and it came with fantastic glowing reviews, and that is fan favourite Nier Automata, the End of Yora edition. Nier Automata is just so good. You know, the combat in this is ace, and it looks fantastic on Nintendo Switch. I always usually play on handheld mode, and it just looks so good. So back on the JRPG train, we have another fan favourite JRPG, and that is Ni no Kuni Wrath of the White Witch. Gorgeous game, and it was one where I'd wanted it on the PS3. I borrowed it from a friend ages ago, played it. But with JRPGs, I like to have them on the go because, you know, I can't always commit to sitting down on my backside playing in front of a screen. Whereas on the go, I can always just jump into this world. So good to have on the go. Now this next JRPG, it's one where I struggled with. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic game, and there will be a video coming up there somewhere about how I struggled with it. But that game's Octopath Traveler. Now, don't get me wrong, as I said, it's a fantastic game, but the grind is just unbelievable. There's just, to level up all your characters, you're just constantly having to grind. And when you get to a story beat, and if you're not at the right level, you've got to go back and grind again. It's a bit tedious. I'm really hoping though that Octopath Traveler 2 sorts these issues out. Now here's another indie game which I've gushed on about a few times before, and that is Owlboy. Whoa, Owlboy is so good. It's kind of a Metroidvania style game where you are playing as a titular owl boy. I mean Otis, his name's Otis.
Crash! Bang! Wallop! What a video!
But yeah, it's a fantastic little game. The art style's brilliant and the music's great in it. I just absolutely love this game. Now this was shown in a recent pickups video, and that is Paper Mario the Origami King. Again, this game looks fantastic on Nintendo Switch. I need to put a bit more time into this one, but yeah, brilliant. This next one is a game that all JRPG fans were clamouring for on the Nintendo Switch, and that is Persona 5 Royal. Having Persona 5 on the go, it's just a no-brainer. Now, although this might be my favourite, people think this is one of the worst games out of the series. That's Pokemon Legends Arceus. I absolutely loved my time with this game. I found it more relaxing more than anything else, and I remember when first playing the Pokemon games on Game Boy, and it felt like, you know, that a slight evolution from that, and how I always imagined catching Pokemon in the Game Boy games. So yeah, I look forward to coming back to this one, which I was planning to do at some point this year. This was actually the Pokemon game which got me back into Pokemon, funnily enough, and that was Pokemon Sword. A lot of people slate this one, but I actually really enjoyed my time with it. I know it's a kid-friendly basic JRPG, but you can't go wrong with a Pokemon game. You know what you're in for, and it's just, again, it's an easy play. Incoming Sonic alert. We all know that I am a big Sonic fan. You can see the wee guy there. The first Sonic game on this list is Sonic Colors Ultimate. I never played the Colors game when it first got released, and I finally got it on the Nintendo Switch, and Sonic Colors is just ace. This was my top game of 2022, and that is Sonic Frontiers. Look, Sonic Frontiers is a fantastic game, well, in my eyes anyway. It was what I thought it would be like to play as the Blue Blur back when I had it on the Mega Drive, you know? So yeah, and the music, you know, that song Undefeatable. Oh, I've never felt a boss battle like that before. And the last game in this Sonic games there is Sonic Mania Plus. No explanation required here. Next up is a fantastic RPG that I think everyone should have a go of, especially if you're a big fan of the TV series, and that is South Park: The Fractured But Whole. Look, the South Park games are just so much fun. It does feel like you're actually playing just an episode from the TV show. Being able to walk around South Park, you know, mess around with the likes of Cartman, Butters, etc., you know, ace. Another game which was in a recent pickups video was Shining Resonance Refrain, a JRPG from Sega. Great fun with this game, so yeah, highly recommend this to anyone. Sticking with JRPGs as usual, it's Tales of Vesperia. Now this game was a Xbox 360 exclusive for the longest time, and then the Definitive Edition came along. Man oh man, I really enjoyed my time with this game. It's not the best Tales of game, but it's still a really good one, and it's often on sale quite a lot on digital storefronts, and it's usually quite cheap to pick up physically. So, you know, if you're looking for a decent JRPG at a decent price, there you go. Some of you may be aware that I am a big fan of the Legend of Heroes Trails of series. So these next 3 games, strap yourself in for. So the first Legend of Heroes game is the Trails of Cold Steel 3. And I've got a poster of it just there. That's how much I like it. Trails of Cold Steel 3 follows Rean Schwarzer after the events of the second game. It's hard to talk about Trails of Cold Steel games because it's very spoiler filled if you haven't played the games in order, so just get on board with the Trails of series. And then obviously there's the follow-up of Trails of Cold Steel with Trails of Cold Steel 4. This is the culmination of all the Trails of Cold Steel games, where basically every character from a Trails of game is basically in this game. It's just so good, this one. And one of the most recent releases from the Trails of series is the remaster version of Trails from Zero. Oh, absolutely love this game, and it made me appreciate the characters way more as they do appear in Trails of Cold Steel 4. I have had a video done in the past about why you should play this game, so again, you know what I'll do. Now, a fantastic multiplayer game for the Nintendo Switch, and one of the first releases I think was Ultra Street Fighter 2. It's Street Fighter, come on, it's just so much fun. Now, we were talking about impossible ports earlier on, and this was the impossible port, and that is The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Now, I used to have The Witcher 3 on PlayStation 4, but I just, again, similar to what I was saying earlier on, I couldn't commit to just sitting in front of the TV the whole time. Then when the Witcher series came out on Netflix, I thought, no, you know what? It's coming on Switch. I'm going to make sure I play it, and man, I was not disappointed. Now, who here likes Xenoblade Chronicles? Because I do. So instead of me just going through them one by one, they're all here. Xenoblade 1, Xenoblade 2, Torna, and Xenoblade 3. I've said many a time that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is my favourite, and it's one of my favourite JRPGs of all time. I think it's because it was my first Xenoblade Chronicles game that I played. It was one of the main reasons I wanted to get a Nintendo Switch. I remember seeing the trailers for it on YouTube and thinking, that just looks ace. So, wasn't disappointed. And last but not least is Ys 9 Monstrum Knox. This is a fantastic action JRPG. Is it as good as Ys 8 Lacrimosa of Dana? Yeah, it's you know, it's a different game because there's different setting with all Ys games, but yeah, definitely worth your time. And the battle music, oh, so good. But anyway, that was my Nintendo Switch collection. Do you own any of these games, or are you now looking to add these games into your collection? Or do you think, nah, I don't like your collection, mate? Let me know down below. And please help me grow the channel by liking, sharing and subscribing. But until then, tatty bye.